Welcome to East Taunton, Massachusetts, home of B. Vieira. I'm Lynn Vieira, and I know how much you love to bake, and I didn't think you should go one more day without knowing how to make Portuguese sweetbread, which is a family tradition on Easter and Christmas, but particularly at Christmas time. It's so delicious, and not only do you make wonderful bread from it, but you make the lovely Malasadas, are also called poundzinhos, so this is a 2-day process, and we're going to share it with you, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do.
Now I have, in this pan, I have 5 pounds of all-purpose flour, and to that I am going to add 4 cups of sugar, and I will stir that around. Add 1 teaspoon salt, and then I will take 15 eggs.
I'll help you.
So I'll whisk the eggs. So I make a well in the flour, and I pour the eggs into that. So I have 1/2 pound of butter, melted butter.
So I just pour it all in?
Pour it all in.
All right.
And 3 cups of lukewarm milk.
The whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Stir this around. And the most laborious part of that is coming up, where you have to knead it for at least 10 to 15 minutes until it's airy in consistency. So right now I'm just mixing all the ingredients with a spoon. And it gets rather moist. And then I think I'll add that yeast that's on the counter. And I add a teaspoon, or maybe a little bit more, of vanilla. So now we mix all that in, the yeast and the vanilla, the eggs, the sugar, the flour. People used to make sweetbreads in the form of, say, an arm. If they had had a terrible pain in their arm, they would make the sweetbread in the shape of an arm or a leg, and they would have at the parade, and as the parade went by, they would bring their little offerings out to the parade, and later on in the afternoon these breads would be raffled off. But I always do this at Christmas time, and I make 1 bread for each of my 7 children. And I make a bigger one that we can share Christmas Eve. And as Lynn was saying, then I make some malasadas. That'll be tomorrow morning when this is all has been raised. And there's a process where after it's been kneaded like this, I'll put it near the fireplace to raise. And it rises once, and that period of time is 6 or 7 hours from the time I put it there at first. And then when it rises that time, then you push the dough down, it rises again, and when it rises that second time, then you put it in the individual bread pans. Of course, then it rises again, and you bake it. It's really starting to get that airy feel to it. So now I put it by our fireplace to rise. I put a towel over it, and then I put an Afghan, so keep it nice and warm, so it'll rise beautifully. And then, the most important, I put my husband's jacket. And I don't know why we do this, but my mother always did it, and I'm going to do it too. So, and you take and you cross the arms.
A little Portuguese Catholic superstition.
And, oh, look at this, huh? Okay. Okay. Now this will have to rise again.
Give me a piece. Gotta have a little sample.
How is it?
Mmm.
Good?
Sweet and delicious.
Okay. Now we cover this up again.
Okay. Till tomorrow.
And we'll wait till tomorrow.
It's 5:30 in the morning. If this isn't love, I don't know what is. But our bread is looking phenomenal. Look how high it's risen. So now we're gonna break it down into loaves.
Flour the surface here and prepare it to make the breads. So then we just take some of this dough out. And I'm going to make the big loaf first. And it's kind of gooey, but then you take it and you knead it. Press it down. Knead it, get all the air bubbles out. And it does smell so good. Take out the dough for that. And I don't measure how much is. You pretty much know how much goes in these little pans. Look at that.
That looks like, what would you estimate that at though?
Oh,
Cup and a half or?
yeah.
And then how long are those going to need to sit before you
Well,
can bake them?
They should sit another hour, to rise again, and then we'll bake them. And as I said before, we bake them at 300. The smaller loaves are 45 minutes, and the bigger ones are an hour. To make the Malasadas.
This is my favorite part.
And this is, as Lynn was saying, the fried dough. Some people make great big ones, but I like them smaller.
Right. Yeah, in the stores you'll see them large and almost kind of a lot thinner, flat.
Yeah.
But these are more like, almost like puffy donuts without a middle popped out of them.
My mother used to call them pãozinhos, which is little breads.
Oh, okay. And do you need to let those rise a little bit?
These rise too, yeah.
And same amount of time or less time?
Well, I think less time, but not that much less.
Okay. And they just sit out on the counter?
They sit out here on the counter, and then I'm going to heat up the oil in a little pan. I don't have a fryer or anything like that. I find it works fine. They've risen so beautifully.
Look at that.
I'm going to bake these.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How long are we looking at?
Now, we'll take 45 minutes for the small ones,
And an hour for the big one.
so an hour for the big one.
Okay.
Now we're going to be making our malasadas, and I have the vegetable oil here, heated.
So how long do they cook in there for?
Until they're browned. I never really have timed it.
So you need to flip them over at some point.
Yeah,
So you cook on both sides.
Right. I'm going to turn them over and cook on the other side.
This is my favorite part. I like to shake it, get all the sugar all over it. It's a good workout, since I'm going to be consuming thousands of calories in a few minutes. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Lovely breads.
Get the butter out.
So now we're just going to, now that they're hot out of the oven, I'm just going to glaze them a little bit with butter.
So here we have them, one for each one of the children. And they've been buttered on top, all ready to go.